Okay, that was new. Who am I talking to?
You are talking to
Oh.
the producer of your show because it is time for What in the World with.
That's my cue, Paul Seaburn. Hey,
That's
hi,
right.
Karen.
Hey,
Yes,
how
that's
are
right.
you?
I'm good. We're here at What in the World. I thought I was talking to myself, but I got a little message on my screen that I'd never seen before about live streaming. So I guess that means we're live streaming, which is
That's
great.
what it means.
It means
That's what it
hello
means.
to everybody who's listening to us live. I'm here, Paul Seaburn, the host of What in the World, your weekly weird news show. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. If you're watching us on YouTube, on the screen over there is Karen Hale, who is our producer, co-host, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, which is our platform. And somewhere else on the screen, possibly floating around, you never know, is John Denalo, my old buddy. John, how you doing?
Hey, good, Paul. Good to see you and Karen again. Another week.
And I love your hat today.
John, yeah, thanks. Yeah. Go Browns.
Can't see, yeah.
Browns.
John's got his Browns hat on because the Browns won this week. I think that's all we'll say about that because we don't want to jinx them. But this is Cleveland. We have nothing else to talk about except your news.
That's right.
Although the Cavs are looking good, but we don't want to jinx them either. So, anyways, John is our sports guy. If you haven't figured that out, so every week he'll be bringing us. What in the world of weird sports, and I know he's got another weird sport for us this week. But that's only one of the reasons why you're tuning into What in the World on newclevelandradio.net, on YouTube, on Apple, Spotify, whatever your platform you're listening to us. Thank you for doing that. Like us, follow us, do all those things so we know that you're there. I got a couple of shout outs this week to some of our regular listener viewers. Big shout out to John and I, our fraternity brothers, and our brother Dan down in South Carolina mentioned a secret quote that I made last week that let me know he's been listening. So hi, Dan. And also down in Austin, Mark, thanks for always tuning in. Mark always has interesting suggestions for the show, which we ignore. And as always, I think Tex Chick and Steeler Girl down in Texas are watching or listening as well. I know they're not happy about sports, so in Houston, that's the way it goes. But anyways, and I have my Bigfoot shirt on, which means that.
Woo!
But we have some Bigfoot stories today. So let's get right to it. I have, what are we talking about today on What in the World? A Bigfoot twofer. I actually have two Bigfoot stories. So get ready for that. This is Monster Week at Bigfoot at New Cleveland Radio. Wait, where are we? We're on What in the World?
On newclevelandradio.net.
Okay, got it. Where's my cue cards? My cue
right
cards.
Here.
I don't know. You missed something in rehearsal today, Paul.
There you go. I know, John. I've been stumbling over them. Okay, so this is John. This is for you from Montana. I have a story of a Bigfoot who gave a flat tire to a driver. And this one comes from Karen. A Bigfoot in Belgium hangs out in a playground. So we're gonna learn a little bit about what Bigfoot would be doing in a playground. We've got a flying broom, and I have pictures without a witch. So we'll take a look at that. Flying humanoid, a lot of stuff in the space in the air this week. Flying humanoid from Glasgow, Scotland. Also from Scotland, the Loch Ness monster was arrested this week. So we've got footage of the Loch Ness monster being arrested. This is going to be Weird Monster Week. Also, world records. I've got a world record potato from New Zealand. And then this is one of my all-time favorite monsters. I don't think I've ever talked about this one on the show. The Fresno Nightcrawler. Wait till you see this one, Karen and John, and everybody tuning in. And by the way, when I say see, I'm referring to the people who are looking at us on YouTube. We do have photos occasionally, and I'll try to describe them for those of you that are downloading the podcast. But take a look at YouTube. Many of the stories have photos along with them, so it's always worth it to take a look at those.
And there's no charge to watch it on YouTube.
No charge. That's right. And also the National Toy Hall of Fame issued their winners this week. And I always have fun with those. We talked about those every year. So unusual world records. We've got more sports trivia. John with his weird sports for the week. And of course, Bluff the co-host. So everybody's favorite weird news game. Let's get right to it with, we're going to go to New Jersey. Thank God we're not going for real. We're just going by the story. And I apologize to all of our New Jersey listeners. So anyway, this story comes from North New Jersey, where there's a school that had to call the police and then the animal warden because kids were looking out the windows and seeing monkeys in the playground. And teachers saw them too. So they knew this, this wasn't the kids playing a game trying to get out of a test. There were actual monkeys in the playground. They called the police, they called the animal people, but before they got there, the monkeys ran away. Now, the monkeys would have stayed. When we were kids, the monkeys would have stayed because all of our playgrounds had monkey bars. And, they would have been attracted to them. So, and they would have gotten caught. So I thought, as I like to do when I come up with some weird stories like that, I took a look to see how long we've had monkey bars as a play activity in playgrounds. Now I'm sure they're not there anymore, but this is, believe it or not, 2021 is the 101st anniversary of the invention of the monkey bars. And I have some pictures of the original monkey bars. Let's take a look at this one right here. This is what monkey bars look like today. There we go. So those are your standard square. It looks like piping, plumber's piping, welded together into blocks that kids can climb on. Now, this is really called the jungle gym more than monkey bars. And the jungle gym was invented in 1920 by a lawyer. Sebastian Hinton was his name. And he sold it under the he trademarked it under the name Jungle Gym. He built a number of them himself and sold them. And one of them is still, from 1920, is still standing in Chicago. This is an older jungle gym. Let me get to the one that there you go. So this is the jungle gym that he built in the 1920s. It's in front of a school and it's still standing. Pretty scary looking contraption, wouldn't you say, Karen and John?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I would take my belt off and strap myself to it, so I wouldn't fall off. So anyways, one of the, as people built new jungle gyms, they started adding more things to them. And one of the things they added were what looked like a ladder, horizontal above the bars, where you could go hand over hand across. And those were the monkey bars. Sebastian, the inventor, added those. And he said he added them because the patent that he submitted said that monkey bars appeal to the monkey instinct in children, which I don't think would be acceptable today. And he was inspired by his father. Wow, how did he get this idea? He was inspired by his father, who was a mathematician in Chicago. And his father built the original monkey bars for his kids out of bamboo, which sounds awfully dangerous. And he did it to teach his kids and his students mathematics principles, in particular geometry, with the angles and the shapes and all that kind of stuff. He used it, and I'm going to quote here, to give an intuitive understanding of three-dimensional space through a game in which numbers for the X, Y, and Z axes were called out, and each child tried to be the first to grasp the indicated junction. So X would be the horizontal axis, Y would be the vertical axis, and Z apparently would be the one going away from them. And that kids, that's what you're missing in school these days. Fun games like that. So nobody cared. Nobody cared. Now, as dangerous as monkey bars work, I have a picture here of what they replaced. Now, before they had jungle gyms, people just welded all different kinds of stuff together. And this is from the 1900s. This is from Washington Park, maybe New York, where they've got swings that must be 30 or 40 feet in the air. They've got rings, they've got ladders, and there's kids all over this thing, sliding down pipes, running underneath other kids. It's the scariest thing I've ever seen. And looks like a lot of fun. Yeah, kind of thing that all of us would have probably played on when we were kids. So obviously these no longer exist because of lawyers. Ironically, a lawyer invented the jungle gym. I think that's pretty ironic.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he invented the jungle gym. He did it to generate money, Karen.
Yeah, I should have thought about it.
First, he sold the patent, then he sued the patent holder.
Yep. Okay.
So anyway, all right. So let's move on to the giant potato, because I know everybody would rather talk about giant potatoes. So this comes from New Zealand. A couple in Waikato, New Zealand, dug up a potato. They're potato farmers, obviously. So actually they dug something up. They didn't know what it was. And it turned out to be a potato that weighs, get ready for this, 17.5 pounds. I think I've got a pig. There you go. Very ugly looking potato.
Yeah, you got that right. Holy.
Yeah, it's a mutant. It looks like a potato that had babies, like a puppy, and the babies are feeding off of it.
Wow.
And it's huge. It's absolutely massive. So they named it. So the guy is holding a pitchfork, and which he used to dig it up. And he said, as he was digging, he wasn't sure what it was. So get ready for this. He stabbed it with his pitchfork. Then he licked the tips of his pitchfork. Yeah, honest to God. And it tasted like a potato, so he figured it must be a potato. Plus the fact that he planted potato seeds in that pot.
Gosh.
But he had to taste it in. This is New Zealand for you. So anyways, so he poked it in at the potato. So they submitted it to the Guinness people. Oh boy, here comes my allergies. Talk amongst yourselves over there. So they submitted it to the Guinness people, and they had to fill out all kind of paperwork. He said like 120 pages worth of, paperwork, just to show you. Oh man.
What do you get for entering it into the Guinness book?
A laurel and hearty handshake.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's about it. I don't think you get anything else. There's no money involved. Excuse me. So just to show you how lonely these people are in New Zealand, they named the potato Doug.
What?
Yeah, they named him Doug, which I think is better than Frenchie, because the potato might get the wrong idea about where he's going to end up. But not only that, they love this potato so much. Let me show you what they do to it. They got a little wagon for it.
Oh.
And they pull it around the farm while they're stabbing his brothers and then digging them up to eat and sell at the local market. So poor Doug. He's got eyes, but he doesn't have a mouth like Mr. Potato Head, where he could warn them about what's about to happen to his poor buddies over there. So,
and you can't call it Mr. Potato Head anymore.
Or what we call it, just potato person?
Just Potato Head.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
So,
yes.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. Gotta be PC about it.
We can mix and match all their clothes. Actually, I think it's pretty cool. I think it'd be fun to mix and match. I used to mix and match the eyes and put them in the wrong place and make mutants, kind of like this mutant potato that we're talking about
exactly.
right here.
Yep.
So anyway, speaking of mutants, we're going to go to Montana for our first Bigfoot story. I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but Montana is a pretty big Bigfoot state. They average 51 Bigfoot sightings every year. And by population, and there's not much of a population in Montana, so that amounts to 1 in 20,000. So one Bigfoot sighting for every 20,000 people, which means you have a fair chance of seeing a Bigfoot in Montana. And as a matter of fact, someone did. A tire shop in Kalispell, Montana, got a report. And here's what happened. One of their customers brought in their car to be worked on. It was a body shop. And they had to keep it overnight, so they gave him a loaner. So he calls the shop the next day and he says, I'm bringing the car in. I just wanted to let you know that I'm driving on the spare because the regular tire is flat because a Bigfoot attacked it and flattened it. And they said, yeah, right. Just bring it in. So he says, I'm not lying. So he brings the car in and he pulls it in, and sure enough, the spare is on the car, those chintzy cheap spares they give you now. And he opens the trunk and he shows them the tire, which was attacked by a Bigfoot, and that's why it's flat. So I'm showing a picture of the tire. and for those of you who can't see it, he was telling the truth. What is sticking out of the tire is a metal Bigfoot, kind of like and they have I have a picture of what you use them for, but they have like metal pins on the back, so you can stick them to a tree or something like that. And he must have run over it, and it stuck into his tire and let all the air out. So I don't know if they could repair it. Let's see. I think I have a picture of some of the what this actually looks like. There you go. Whoa. So those are that's what it looks like normally. It's a Bigfoot symbol that is stuck to a wall, to a wooden wall. So I guess people who are fans of Bigfoot like to do that. So anyways, he was telling the truth. His car got a flat tire because it was attacked by a Bigfoot. My question is, did he get his deposit back? Because, I don't know if that was covered under the
probably wasn't.
Yeah, really. Now, I don't have any pictures of this, but probably about 4 or 5 years ago, there was a rash of stories out of Australia on the Australian Bigfoot, which is the Yowie. And they were actually reports of people going out into the bush, and they would go, on walkabout and leave their Jeeps or their cars. And when they came back, their cars would have claw marks all over them, smashed in fenders, all kind of stuff, like it was attacked by a Yowie or possibly a bear or something with long claws. But, it's not a story if it's a bear, it's a story if it's a Yowie. So that's what they went with. You don't hear much about that in the United States. Bigfoot apparently doesn't know how to drive, or maybe Bigfoot can only drive a stick, and it hasn't mastered the automatic yet. Which
that could be.
Yeah. So, okay. So now this story, I'm gonna. What was that, John?
I said anything's possible.
Anything is possible. That's right. So this next story, I get an email from Karen this week. And she sends me a picture. So I'm send all your hate mail to Karen Hale at nuclearradio.net after this story.
Hey, I'm just trying to help out as your producer.
So Karen sends me this picture, and I'll put it up and I'll describe it for everybody here. This is it's called the Big Nipples Bigfoot. Now, before you let your imagination run wild, what we're looking at is a probably 30-foot tall creature that looks like Bigfoot. It looks to be a male from the lower genitalia portion, but the upper part, where in the chest area, are two extremely long nipples that look like they would make good slides in an amusement park or in a playground. Kind of sticking with our theme of the monkey bars here. So Karen, I did some research on this.
Okay.
This is an actual activity at the Harry Malter Family Park, which is a recreation park in the Belgian town of Housden in the province of East Flanders.
Okay.
Okay. This is a real park. I think I have a picture of there. There you go. Family park. They even use this Bigfoot with the giant nipple slides.
Oh wow!
In their advertising, they even show. This is so So this is a different angle of it. the I looked it up on Twitter, and a lot of people were wondering how on earth you could get up 20 some feet in the air to slide down the Bigfoot's nipple.
Right.
And apparently there's a ladder in the back. You don't have to go up the
slide.
entrance, so to speak.
And this picture doesn't
family park.
and this picture doesn't have like the tunnel thing that
No,
the other-
I just noticed that. And
Yeah.
maybe they have the tunnels for inclement weather, so to speak.
maybe, yeah.
And speaking of which, I think I have here's a picture of little kids actually enjoying climbing up the back of a Bigfoot, climbing out of his boobs and sliding down the giant nipple. I never thought I'd say that.
You're right.
So you know what I'm thinking, Karen and John? Road trip.
Oh yeah.
We've got to
Belgium?
go see this
To Belgium, yeah, sure.
by far. I want to get a picture of me pushing John down this slide. I think that would be
I want to picture that too. Yep.
Yeah, really. That would be priceless.
now this is just to show you how strange this park is. The website, you can Google it, Harry Malter, Malter, and it'll bring up the pictures of the park. But the one picture that I thought was pretty interesting here, this one popped up, and at first I looked at it, and what it looks like is little houses with giant turd emojis on top of it. And I thought, why on earth would they put giant turd emojis on top of little houses for little kids to go into? Then I thought, well, it's the Bigfoot nipple park, so anything's possible. But I looked at another picture, and apparently this is the Belgian version of mushrooms. But those caps on the top don't they look like the turd emojis?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of disgusting. We've taken a disgusting turn this week on New Cleveland, on What in the World on newclevelandradio.net. Let's go to let's get rid of this one. I've got one more with some photos, and then we'll take the photo down. So this isn't as big anymore. Drag racing used to be a pretty big sport in the Northeast Ohio area where we're broadcasting from, the greater Cleveland area. In Sandusky in particular, I believe there was a drag racing park, and we used to hear ads for them all the time. Sunday, Thompson Drag Raceway, and it would be drag racing, and people went to see it. The sport of the future, John, is not the drag racing that we're used to. The sport of the future is aerial drag racing using drones. And I think I have a picture of two drones here racing. These are electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles. eVTOL would be the slang term for them. And these hit up to 96 miles per hour. So these guys are racing these vertical flying electric drag racers, and they say this is in South Australia, by the way. This is a sport of the future. So I mean, it sounds interesting, but I'm not sure that watching electric drones race is what will catch on in America. So my thinking is what they need are electric monster cars and monster trucks. Have them,
Logical thinking there, Paul.
there you go, climbing over other trucks and maybe gasoline powered trucks. I think people would go to see that, or demolition derbies, electric vehicle demolition derby. I think that would catch on better in the United States, and it would have to be on Sunday because I want to hear those commercials again. Sunday. So, anyways, I think that might be a Northeast Ohio reference there. So we'll take that down and talk about a few other things I don't have pictures for. So this is, I like to talk about sports, about space travel and astronomers. It's amazing to me that you can get paid to look at the stars. There's still kids. My neighbor's a good example. There's still kids who are so interested in astronomy. They want telescopes. They want to look at Saturn and Jupiter and all that stuff and the constellations. So astronomers, and now they've got these massive, the Hubble telescope out in space someplace that can see all the way back to the beginning of time. And that's what they were doing. They were using this Hubble telescope this week, and they detected, get ready for this, in a dust cloud in an ancient galaxy that was formed when the universe was only like 1 billion years old, and the universe is 13 billion years old now, so long time ago. This galaxy is made up of fluorine, the stuff that they put in toothpaste to make your teeth white. Fluorine, it's the element that goes into fluoride. So they're thinking that after the Big Bang, one of the things that was spit out of the giant explosion was fluorine, and eventually this was one of the bigger galaxies. Eventually, it made it to Earth, and Dennis discovered it and realized that they could charge us for this stuff that came from this ancient galaxy, and that's why we're using fluoride today. What scares me though is that this is so far away. That means aliens already have it. So when aliens come, they're going to have really, really good teeth.
Yeah.
You know? Luckily, we'll be able to see them coming because they'll be so blinding white because of this fluoride and fluorine that, we have a head start running in the opposite direction before they come and get us. But I didn't want to do this story on the show this week, but the SpaceX has been shuttling, that's Elon Musk space company, has been shuttling astronauts back and forth from the International Space Station. And they were in the news this week because the toilet broke again on the SpaceX capsule. And the poor astronauts, there's 4 astronauts that can't wait to get home. Earlier this week, they were told, okay, well, you got to go, we can't fix it because the tools are down here. We don't make house calls. So they told them to put space diapers on and get into capsule for the 12-hour slow descension from the space station into the Atlantic Ocean, and then we'll pick you up and we'll give you a bag. You can
Oh
take
my
the
gosh.
That's some rough stuff there. Wow.
I know. So I'm thinking, all these bodily functions you have to perform while in space, while weightless. Getting back to the fluoride issue, how do you floss in space? Because I can understand how you brush. You can keep your mouth closed and spit without, getting spittle flying all over the place. But flossing in space, you got to use 2 hands, and you got to have your mouth open. And you're getting your freeze-dried spinach out of your teeth. Oh, that stuff's going to be flying all over the place. These are the things that astronauts have to go through, John and Karen. It's a rough life.
That's why I'm not an astronaut.
That's why you.
It's something they have to deal with.
And that's why you come to What in the World, because we think about those kinds of things for you. So now here's another one. I love study. This is the kind of study that we need. Normally, I talk about studies that I think are a complete waste of money, but this is an interesting one. This one comes from Leiden University, which I believe is in Germany, and this is a study on dating, so on blind dating, as a matter of fact. So they took couples, volunteers, they call them dating cabins. I thought this sounds pretty interesting. So they put them in these dating cabins, blind date. They've never met each other, and the couple has to sit on either side of a table, and there's a screen in the middle of the table, so they can't see each other. Then they hook up these sensors to their head and to their hands and to the entire body. So they're measuring everything that's going on. And then they take the screen and they lift it up real quick and they close it. So they get this brief little glimpse of the person on the other side. And then they start taking measurements to see what kind of reaction the people had. Now, John and I went to Catholic schools, grade school and high school. The nuns would have loved to have this for like school dances, where they could have sensors on all the kids. and keep track. Oh, somebody's temperature just went up. They're under the bleacher. We need to go get them. But what these researchers found is that even with brief visual contact by the blind dates, if the person on the other side of the screen was attractive to you, their heart rate immediately went in sync, and their palms immediately began sweating at the same time. Just from that brief look, which I thought that's something that you wouldn't expect, and then the vice versa. If the person didn't like you, their heartbeat stayed out of sync, and their palms weren't sweating. So if anybody hears this about this study and wants to try it at home, don't, because you don't go on a blind date and see the person and immediately grab their hands or grab their chest and feel them all over the place to see if your heartbeats are in sync. You're going to get thrown out of McDonald's. So just they don't tolerate that kind of stuff. Find yourself a study and let them hook you up to the machine. Weird story there.
Yes, that was.
That was a strange one, Paul.
All right, so I've got a couple of pictures here for this one here. This is so. When was Halloween? Was Halloween last weekend?
A couple weeks ago.
A couple weekends ago, yeah. Well, this is a leftover from Halloween. So this guy in I'm not sure where he's at. This comes from it's just a TikTok video. Okay, so this guy had driving in his car, so he claims, and looks out the window in front of him and sees a broom floating in space. Now I've got a picture on the screen of a broom floating in space. This is out his front window. Now I didn't have the ability to show a video, but he gets out of the car so you can see it's not glued to his windshield. It's an actual broom floating in space in front of his car. The 40 feet up in the air, he claimed, with no visible means of support, no witch, no wizard on it, just sitting there. He doesn't say what happens. All of a sudden the TikTok video ends. He doesn't say what happened. So of course I went looking to see why there would be a broom with no rider on it floating in space. And I found the reason, and that would be this right here.
Oh my gosh.
Poor witch lost her broom and slammed into a tree. I guess the broom kept on going. This is not the lovely Donna has one of those witches that she puts on our tree every year. But that was it was very frustrating because I could find nothing else on the floating broom other than a TikTok video of a broom floating in space.
Wow.
But I enjoyed the witch. So
Paul, did you know where that was? Where that happened?
No, they didn't even say where it was, John. So
okay, just
I know John wanted to make a road trip to see if he could find it.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yeah, it'd be great if you know how to do that lasso like the cowboys do. You could get some rope and maybe throw a rope around it and haul it in. We could have it on the show next week. Work on that.
Yeah.
I work on it.
Okay.
And he'll get paid. He'll get paid big bucks for that too.
No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. By who, Karen?
I have no idea. It's not me.
Okay. So now we go to Scotland, which is one of my favorite countries, partly because it's the home of my favorite monster, the Loch Ness Monster. Poor Loch Ness Monster got arrested this week in Glasgow. So, for one thing, the Loch Ness Monster doesn't live in Glasgow. It lives in Inverness, which is in northern Scotland. Glasgow is in the middle of Scotland. And it's in the news this week because of the big climate summit. So I think I have a picture of Bigfoot being arrested right here. So here you go. There's cops all over the place. I'm sorry, I said Bigfoot. The Loch Ness Monster, they wrestled the Loch Ness Monster to the ground. And now they're looking at each other saying, we should have brought bigger handcuffs, because this Loch Ness Monster is 25 feet long. It's 10 feet across. And for those of you who can't see it, it's a balloon. Okay, I've been pulling you a little bit here. There were protesters at the outside the summit, and for some strange reason, they decided to rope the Loch Ness monster into the protest. Probably the Loch Ness monster was protesting having to protest because, when they don't want to be involved with that kind of stuff. And the cops came in and said, you don't have a permit for a monster, and they pulled it down and put handcuffs on it. And I think they let the air out and hauled it away. Sad day for the Loch Ness monster, I would say.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Now, Scotland, weird stuff is going on in Scotland because also in Glasgow, somewhere about the same time, a couple is looking out their window and they see a flying humanoid floating across the sky, the Glasgow sky, as they looked out the window. And lucky for you, John, they have a photograph of it. So there's this flying humanoid. Now it looks kind of like a robot of some sort with a pointy head, kind of rectangular shape, but you can definitely see legs hanging down and arms to its side. I'm sure John is already thinking it's pretty blurry.
I was just going to say that, Paul. Yeah, it's like, that fits the purpose of, or it fits the description of the grainy photo, which that truly.
That's right, grainy. It's grainy, blurry, not too distinct. So what they think, there's two schools of thought on this one, on this flying humanoid. It's either a balloon, as the Loch Ness monster was, or it's an actual extraterrestrial who is spying on the climate change summit. And if an ET is looking down and looking at what little progress we're making in climate change, they're thinking, well, we don't need to waste our time trying to conquer these people. They're gonna conquer themselves. Don't worry about it. But this is Flying Humanoid Week on What in the World, because I have a second flying humanoid story, and this one comes from Los Angeles, from the Los Angeles International Airport. LAX is the call letters for that. Which, by the way, because of that, there will never be another Los Angeles International Airport, because once they did that, LAX would become XLAX. And nobody wants to know that.
Where's your horn? Yeah, you got the horn there? You got the horn?
Yeah, oh, no, to get the horn out, that's right.
There you go.
The bad pun horn. Okay, so in earlier this year, there was a number of sightings by pilots flying into or out of LAX of what they call the jetpack man. Someone or something flying a jetpack at 3,000 feet in altitude, very low, illegally, according to the FAA, all around the Los Angeles airport, LAX. And they could not figure out who it was, there's not that many jetpacks in existence. So they tried to track down all the jetpacks. They couldn't figure out who it was. So finally, the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, they had a crew out one day, and they happened to see the jetpack man, and they took a video of it and some photographs. And I've got a picture of those right here. So this is what they think was the jetpack man. And for those of you who can't see it, I wasn't sure about this. This is Jack Skellington. Jack Skellington was a creature, the monster, the villain, in A Nightmare Before Christmas, which was Tim Burton's 1993 Christmas movie. So apparently somebody has a probably 50-foot tall Jack Skellington balloon that they've been flying around Los Angeles, including near the airport. And the police believe that this is the explanation for the jetpack man. Now, I don't think so. This doesn't look like a guy on a jetpack at all. It looks like.
How about a frontal picture? That would really help, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Clear, right?
So, but this is Los Angeles, and they don't have anything else to do, I guess. So
enough said.
But
apologies to all of our Los Angeles people.
There you go. This was a popular toy, and that's my segue into the next segment, which is the National Toy Hall of Fame. And I love talking about this. So they announced the winners this year of the new entries into the National Toy Hall of Fame. The American Girl's doll was one. the strategy game Risk, which I know everybody's played. That's a very popular game. But the one that I thought was way too unusual was Sand. They inducted Sand into the Toy Hall of Fame, calling it the most universal and oldest toy in the world. Now, oldest, I'll buy. Universal, I'm not sure, because, there's plenty of other toys that kids play with that are more popular. For example, car keys. I've seen kids play with car keys all the time. Cell phones, kids playing with cell phones all the time. Boogers, kids playing with boogers all the time. Any of those could have been qualified to enter, just as qualified as Sand. But I always like to look at who the losers were, because these were the winners. So some of these games I know you're familiar with that didn't make it this year. Battleship, great game. I know John and I, we used to play that all the time when we were in college.
Absolutely.
Because we drank too much back then. Or something. Settlers of Catan, which is a newer game that's big in Silicon Valley. Mahjong, Karen, by the way. I don't know if that's a sport a game that you play. Cabbage Patch Kids, which was huge in the 80s. Masters of the Universe, a big one with the technical crowd. And then this one. And I know everybody will remember this one. This is the
I love that
corn popper. Everybody had one of these, or their little brother.
I think we had 2 or 3 of them actually.
I'm sure. It's one of the reasons why our parents drank so much, because this is, for those of you who can't see it, but I know you remember it. It was like a little lawnmower, and there was a little gizmo that turned around inside a plastic dome filled with balls, and they would get popped up and click against the plastic dome and make a noise that probably annoyed every adult in 100 yards of the popper.
Sure.
Yeah. So that one didn't make it. That by the way was invented in 1957, and the guy sold the patent for $100, the Fisher Price. Never made it.
Wow.
Mahjong. Did you know, Karen? Mahjong means sparrow in Chinese.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, the clicking tiles is supposed to sound like sparrows making noise.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah. The piñata was up for entry into the Hall of Fame and did not make it. Now we associate the piñata with Mexico. It's actually a European invention, and the Spanish brought it to Mexico. And this is, I always mention John and I went to Catholic, many years of Catholic school. The piñata was used to teach the native Mexicans about catechism. And I thought, how on earth did they do this? So I have a picture of this is a church in Mexico, and that's supposed to be St. Francis busting a piñata on top of the church. The statue is him busting a piñata, and it's not an animal. It's a ball with like points sticking out of it. So basically, what the friars would do when they came to Mexico, they would fill these things up with candy, and the piñata represents the struggle of man against temptation, because it's filled with candy. The 7 points represent the 7 deadly sins. The pot full of candy represents evil, and the candy inside are the temptations of evil. The person with the stick is blindfolded to represent faith. So you have faith that you're going to whack this thing and get the candy. The turning, singing, and shouting represents disorientation that temptation causes. And get ready for this. In some traditions, the participant was spun around before they could whack the thing, spun around 33 times, once for each year of Christ's life. So by that time, 33 times, there's no way they're going to be able to even stand up, let alone whack this thing and get the candy and make the priest happy and all those other things. So beating it is a struggle of temptation against temptation and evil. And when the piñata breaks, then you get the rewards of keeping the faith. So there you go. Nobody believes any of this anymore. It's basically just another thing to do to get candy and until you open up your presents at the party.
Absolutely.
Really? Wow.
I thought, where on earth? But then again, having 16 years of Catholic education, I shouldn't be asking that question. I should just accept the fact that we have used strange things to convert people to the faith that we belong to. So who hasn't?
That's right. That's
There
right.
you go. So anyway, that I think that I don't consider piñata bashing a sport, but I suppose in some places they do. But it's a good segue to what in the world of sports with John Dinalo. And John's all set. He's got his Browns hat on. Every week I ask John to come up with a strange sport that you may not have heard about. I ask him sometimes to try and find one that we could participate in. He always ignores me on that one.
Well,
and usually by the time he's done, we realize we can't do it anyways.
Well, I think with this sport, there's no way you and I could compete in it. At least
None
not
of us.
now.
No,
Maybe
no,
if we were younger, but not now. No, I don't think we.
No, I am not sure that we have the wherewithal to do this. So why don't you turn us on to the latest sport of the week on what in the world of weird sports, John? Take it away.
Sounds good, Paul. Sounds good, Karen. Okay, so our sport this week is unicycle hockey.
Unicycle hockey.
Wow.
Let me explain. Okay,
just the name says no.
Yeah.
Pass. Right. At any rate, but the unicycle hockey it is a team sport, and it's similar to ice hockey, which with two differences. The first one is players hit a tennis ball, not a puck, and into the other team's goal. And then the second is that in unicycle hockey, each player must be mounted on a unicycle to play the ball.
Wow, hence the name.
Yes, exactly.
I have a picture of it up here. It already looks way too scary and too difficult for us. But
whoa.
These people seem to be doing quite well at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. But anyway, so from an origin standpoint, the first known instance of hockey on unicycles is a short segment in the 1925 film Variety, which shows two performers on a stage, one who was using a field hockey stick to push a ball around.
Wow. So it's almost 100 years old.
Exactly right. In 1960, unicycle hockey was recognized as one of the activities of the Albuquerque Unicycle Club, which was founded in 1957, and at that time was the only known unicycle club in the United States. Then
that's interesting because unicycle hockey isn't too common in the United States today.
No, it really isn't. It isn't.
But it originated here. By the way, Karen, there's some girls playing unicycle hockey there. So
yeah, I see the one.
There you go. It's a unisex. Sport.
Not me.
But by 1971, the game was being played in Japan and was very popular in Japan. Then in 1985, Lahi Mo became the first German unicycle club, and the first British unicycle hockey team was formed in 1987.
So eventually it caught on, yeah.
Right. And for those of us who are interested in knowing about federations and organizations and associations that govern sport, well, the governing body for unicycle hockey is the International Unicycle Federation, or the IUF.
The IUF, of course, everybody's heard of that.
And the federation publishes rules for all unicycle sports.
Oh, there's rules.
There are rules.
Okay.
Okay. A team is comprised of 5 players, and there are substitutes also that can enter in and play. And there is no dedicated goalkeeper role, although one player usually stays back, in that position.
Well, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. No goalkeeper.
As you can see, the court that is used is between 35 and 45 meters in length and 20 to 25 meters wide. The court should have either beveled or rounded corners and have barriers on all sides, and that facilitates the play.
Oh, to keep the ball in the
sure.
Yeah, from rolling under the bleachers.
Right. As you notice in this picture, The goals are also set back from the end walls by about 6 feet so that players can go behind them, similar to ice hockey. The
Oh,
goal,
yeah.
yeah, and the goals are 6 foot wide, and they're 4 foot high, and those are standard dimensions. Any stick which is legal for ice hockey can be used, other than the stick that is used by the goalkeeper. The
Yeah,
uni-
it sure looks like they're using standard hockey sticks there.
right, that's it. You can't use the big goalie stick.
Right.
Right, and the unicycle can have a maximum wheel diameter of 24 inches. Can't be any wider than that. Now, there are a number of unicycle hockey rules that must be enforced for the safety of all players.
Like, don't fall down.
Yeah, that would be the first requisite, of course. But the bottom of the stick must not be lifted above hip height.
Oh, no high
No,
sticking.
no high stocking at all. No high sticking.
Ah,
The stick must not be released or thrown intentionally in the competition. And the ball can only be played.
what is this?
Well, wait a minute. I'm not through yet. The
Oh,
ball,
okay.
the ball can only be played when a player is riding the unicycle and not touching the floor.
Oh, okay. So you have to be balanced.
Balancing,
Hit the
yes.
ball. I got it.
Hit the
Okay.
ball.
That makes sense.
Right. And the ball can only be played when a hockey player, I'm sorry, putting your stick under or through an opponent's wheel is a foul. As you can,
There's no fun in this game. There's no body checks. There's no,
no, there isn't. It's a completely different. It's as they say. It's light endurance, and it's light contact for
well,
certain.
I'm going to point out to those who can't see it. All of the players in the picture we have up here, and in the other pictures, they all have their teeth. So
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
so there's a benefit to having these rules, apparently.
And I think they're teenagers too.
Well, no, there's more. I think I've got some adults here.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah,
oh,
look at that
yeah.
old a couple of bald guys here. That could be John and I right there.
Okay.
It could be, but we're not able to do that. But so a goal
They're
can
moving
only be
fast.
scored.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Now, a goal can only be scored from within your opponent's half of the court. So you have to be over the center line. You can't shoot a long pass, or a long shot. It's got to be over the center line.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after a goal, the non-scoring team restarts playing the ball over the halfway line. So it's balanced off that way. It's not like if you continue to score that you continue to monopolize the opportunity to make another goal.
Okay.
Now there are 3 national unicycle hockey leagues. Australia has 8 teams. Switzerland has 20 teams, and get ready for this: Germany has 89 teams.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and they've got hockey too. So they must really like this sport. Wow.
Oh yeah, certainly. So in addition to these leagues, there are
we have none.
Right. Well, no, not a formal team, but we do have club teams. And and for example, there are clubs and teams in other countries, including the UK, France, Denmark, Sweden, Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, and Korea. Now, international competition in the sport takes place at the biennial Unicon World Championships. The current world champions from Unicon 19 in Ansan, Korea, they are the Swiss team. Now,
so the Swiss are good at it too. Germans and Swiss. That makes sense.
Well, sure it does. And again, unicycle hockey would probably be as popular as ice hockey, but they cannot find anyone to drive the Uni Zamboni.
The Uni. Yeah, that's one wheel on the Zamboni. That'd be pretty dangerous.
Just had to put that in there, folks. Just had to do
that'd be a fun thing to watch.
Well, you know what? It would be a blast to watch, I think, but it would be tough to participate in it.
Yep.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. I was thinking this is similar. When we were kids, they used to have a sport called donkey basketball.
I remember that. Yes.
Yeah, it was generally like a fundraiser where people would bring live donkeys into a high school gymnasium. This would never happen today for a number of reasons. And the teachers and other people would ride the donkeys and play basketball at the same time. And I'm sure, you know, there's poop all over the place. They're digging their hoofs into the basketball floor. I'm sure there were other things that could go wrong. And the poor donkeys, you know, was not exactly, it was abusive to the donkeys. So this is only abusive to humans. So it's okay.
Sure.
And in fact, I think I went looking for some pictures of John and I participating in this while we were in college. I couldn't find any, but I did find a picture of what I would look like if I played this sport. And there it is right there. I would on the ground, holding my stick, probably holding my head, saying, "This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard."
Paul, I'm right with you on that. I'm right with you.
But anyway, so unicycle hockey, the latest sport craze that is sweeping across Germany. Thank you, John Donalo, for introducing us to again, another weird sport that I'm sure we wouldn't have found out otherwise.
Yes.
And the Uni-Zamboni. We need to work on that one. I think that would be if they had a Zamboni, maybe the sport would be more popular.
We have to find that out.
Or maybe not. Okay, let's move on to something that I know everybody's been waiting for, and that is for me to take the picture down. And then we'll go. We'll go on
good segue, Paul. Good segue.
Thank you. To bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Every week after sports with John Donalo, we play bluff the co-host, and the rules are very simple. I have 3 stories that are similar to the ones we've been telling all afternoon. One big difference: these stories may or may not be true, and it's up to you, to Karen and John, and you listening or watching, to determine if it's a real story or if it's a bluff. We have permission from YouTube. We allow wagering, so place your bets. Karen and John, put your hands on the buzzers, and let's get right to it with story number 1. In 1974, a man in a small town in Italy parked his Lancia car in front of the newsstand he ran and never moved it again. The compact 4-door sedan became a local tourist attraction, with people coming by to take selfies with the car. After 47 years, it even shows up on Google Maps. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. And when the 94-year-old owner refused to move it, the town officials had the car towed because the crowds were blocking traffic. It was saved from the junkyard by a Lancia Classic Car Club, which plans to restore the car and display it at a local school. So the car that became a tourist attraction because it never moved from the street, the parking place it was in, since 1974. What do you say, Karen? Real or bluff?
Well, I want it to be a bluff, but I have a feeling it's real.
I want it to be a bluff. Okay, we'll go with that. But Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
Well, Paul, you know, this story is so strange. It's got to be. Yeah, I'm going to say it's true also. I'm going to agree with
John. Says it's true, from the homeland, from yes. John's ancestral homeland.
That's right.
Okay, so the Lancia that became a tourist attraction in Italy. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say that is a real story. So you're both right.
Yes.
All right.
Wow.
There you go. Okay.
Start off with a positive here. Okay, so the score is 1-1. Let's get your hands on the buzzer and get right to story number 2. The next time you use a porta potty on a beach, make sure it's firmly anchored. A porta potty that was popular with sunbathers on a popular South Carolina beach disappeared one night, and a few weeks later ended up thousands of miles away on a beach in Ireland. The portable John was found standing up correctly, and the only reason early beachgoers knew it didn't belong there was because there was no toilet paper. The sign with the owner's name had fallen off somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, but local officials managed to find a phone number written on the wall. And after explaining that they were not calling for a good time, managed to locate the South Carolina beach the porta potty came from and returned it to its rightful owner. So the porta potty that floated from South Carolina to Ireland. What do you say, John? Real or bluff?
Part of me wants to say that it's real, but I just think that it's too implausible. I mean, I don't see that happening. I don't think it goes that far. And even if someone in Ireland did recover this and saw the phone number, what are the odds that person's going to call? And then who's going to pay to ship that thing back over to South Carolina? I don't.
Wow.
John always puts such thought into his answers.
Karen and Paul, I just don't think it's true. I think it's a bluff.
John says it's a bluff. Okay, so Karen, how about you? The floating porta potty. What do you say?
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to come up with all that detail right now. And I'm going to totally agree with John.
So both of you say that the floating porta potty, which by the way would be a good name for a band, the floating porta potties is a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Holy smoke!" Both of you are right again.
Thank goodness.
That was a bluff. That's right.
Man. Let's see if we can be perfect today here.
Yeah.
So let's just get right to story. Oh, let's see, what's the score? The score is 2-2. Points are doubled in round number 3, which means that either one of you could vault into the lead if the other person is wrong. So let's see what we have here with story number 3. And what has to be the slowest police chase on record. Cops in Indiana hit speeds of up to 15 miles per hour as they tried to apprehend a man who had stolen a street sweeper from a highway construction site. The chase was just fast enough that the cops on foot couldn't jump onto the sweeper. So the police were forced to surround the street sweeper in their best OJ in a white Bronco fashion. The driver was obviously familiar with the equipment because he had the sweeper brushes going the whole time. So people living along the road were actually cheering him on. Fortunately, no one was hurt, no cars were damaged, and the cops were able to apprehend the driver when the street sweeper ran out of gas, ending his hope for a clean getaway. Karen, we'll start with you. Stolen street sweeper in the world's slowest car chase. What do you say, real or bluff?
Well, I have to tell you, you really are torturing my brain today. But I'm going
always
to say,
my goal.
I'm going to say it's true.
So Karen can imagine that being a true car chase. All right, John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm with Karen on this. I think it's true also. I could visualize this and I could see it happening. Yeah, I'm going to say it's true.
Wow. So the world's slowest car chase with a street sweeper. Both of you say that story is true. Let's check with the judges. They are checking with their sources, and they say, congratulations, you both are right. And not congratulations, it's a tie.
Well, that's good.
A tie is better than a loss. A tie
is better than a loss. That's the John motto as long as I've known him.
Let's try to rationalize it.
That's right.
In everything but football. That's right. A tie is better than a loss. All right. Well, very good. All three. You got all three. Well,
that's good. Good work,
yeah, I need to check with the writer, boy.
Yeah, you better check with that writer. He may get fired.
Bonus this week. All right. Well, that means we've come to the end of another What in the World for this week. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. I want to thank John Dinalo, my old friend and host of What in the World of Weird Sports. John, thanks again for being with us.
Oh, you're welcome, Paul and Karen.
And hope we see a winner this weekend with the Brownies.
Yeah, go Browns.
Karen, as always, thank you for everything you do at newclevelandradio.net, everything you do for What in the World. Go to newclevelandradio.net, check all of the other podcasts that Karen has. There's something for everybody there. And most of all, I want to thank all of our friends out there listening to the podcast, no matter how you download it, or if you're watching us live, watching us on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us every week. Thanks to those of you who contact us either by email or on Facebook. We love hearing from you, although, we won't necessarily listen to your suggestion, but we do love hearing from you.
We like the input.
That's right.
There you go. That's right. We like to know that people are listening. So as always, Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. Please join us every week on What in the World, and we'll see you next week.
We will be here. Have a great day,
Have a good week,
everybody.
everyone. Hey, salute our veterans on Thursday.